Okay, so we also talked about how that father could set, you know, be on the side of other people, either trying to ruin your friendships, ruining your relationships, minimizing you, ridiculing you, appearing to be the bully. When you're in school, or you may have a friend or that person that you know, that whenever they're around other people, or whenever you're around, you guys are around other people, they may be okay one way when they're with you, but then when other people get around, they get really animated. They're gonna embarrass you. They're gonna say all types of things about you and against you, and then tell you you're being too sensitive if you say anything. So you may have a dad that's like that, and so you may experience that as well, and that's not normal. One of the things that they'll try to do is to program you, all right? Because it is programming. They want to program you to think that being made fun of, being ridiculed, being laughed at, jokes at your expense is normal. And if you say anything about it, you're being too sensitive about it. That's what they'll do. They'll make it appear as if you are just being over the top. You're being too much. You're being too sensitive. So there is a conditioning and a programming that you will take into your adult life. And we'll talk about that in a little while. Other things that they may do, as I said, disappointing you. You will find that throughout your life, major hurdles and things that you may go through, your father will not be there to support you in that. Perhaps you're starting college and he has no interest in helping you, so you're trying to figure out how to get loans and grants and all those things by yourself. You may need to go to the schools and you have to figure out a way. You got to find a ride. You got to figure out how you're going to get things done. Things, father-daughter dances, that's something that you're just not going to go to. And some of you may have not told your father about it. Perhaps he would have gone with you, but because he may ridicule you out of fear of ridiculing you, embarrassing you in front of your friends. You may not even think to take those things to your father, because he would shine at your father-daughter dance. Then there's others of you, your father won't go to those things. He may think it's ridiculous, it's silly. He may ridicule you for wanting to do it. So he'll minimize it, ridicule you, make you feel as if you're being silly, and he's just not going to go. So you're always making an excuse. And some of you have even made up a completely different narrative about your father, who he is, what he does, because you're ashamed of him, or it's just better for you to have that fantasy to say your father is a lawyer, or he's away on mission, or he died a hero. Whatever you may say, there's a way you try to just protect yourself, or you have a fantasy that you want to live out. And so you may look at daughters whose fathers dote on them, and they love them, and they protect them, and they're their everything, and they're their best friends, and you wish that you can say daddy, and your father is going to protect you. And so when you see these relationships, it hurts you a lot, and you can feel inadequate. Another thing with these types of fathers is, if you have children, they tend to want to bring that same kind of, they want to plant those same seeds with your children, except now he may try to play your children against you. If you try to correct your child, he may say something about, oh, well, you did that when you were a kid. Now grandparents, they're always spoiling their grandkids, or they're more protective. That's healthy grandparents. You have grandparents that are mean, and they're few and far between. But while they may discipline the child or the grandchild, they may correct them, let's put it like that, they're so much different with them than they were with you. So you have some parents that's just gentle that way with the little ones, with the grandkids, but they won't undermine you. There's a difference. They won't undermine you. Okay, they may slip them a piece of candy or something like that afterwards, or pat them and hug them, or wink at them after you have chastised the child. But they don't undermine your authority or throw up and throw up something you did in your past in front of your children. This will be the difference between that doting grandparent and the one that is trying to plant, the ones that are trying to plant seeds. And so what they will do is they will bring up and tell your child something or mention something you did when you were a child to undermine your authority and to even set you at odds with your child. Okay? And then you have others that will try to treat your grandchildren, they will try to treat your children in an abusive manner. They'll be rude, they'll be disrespectful to them, they will make fun of them, they may say something about their appearance. They may say something, oh, this child has big teeth, or your child has a big forehead or big nose. They'll say something really hurtful to your child. Ooh, you will show them your newborn child and they'll make a comment. Ooh, this baby got big feet. I hope they don't have big feet like you. Or I hope they don't be dark like you. I hope they're not skinny like you. I hope that they get your sister's genes and not look like you. So different things like that. Or they may even make other cutting comments like, he doesn't look anything like his father. Or something like that. Or why'd you have a baby with her? Now this child gonna look, flat face, flat head, platypus mouth, all of that. They'll say rude things and they'll laugh it off. And they may try to say those things to the grandchildren and make you feel that you're oversensitive to correct them. Another thing that they may do is they don't really have interest in the grandchildren. So anything about them, you'll find yourself trying to initiate. Let them know, hey, their birthday's coming up. Can you call them, greet them? Are you coming to the birthday party? These will not be natural things in your father's life. His grandkids are not a priority. But they will jump in on the highlights of the things that's going on with your grandchild. Say your child begins to just something that is noteworthy. They have achieved some things. Then they'll come to that maybe, or not even, but they'll be posting it and talking about it among their friends. This great achievement. Oh, this is my grandchild. So what happens when you allow a grandparent that's in and out, grandfather? Well, you're teaching your child, what you do is you're teaching your child the same thing, where grandpa just wants to show up when he wants to show up, but he's not really a part of their lives. Sometimes maybe he doesn't have a lot of money, but time does not cost money. Now, sometimes you may have your dad just lives somewhere far away and maybe doesn't have a passport or something like that. But even in that, you will find that grandpa will be interested in your the kids. Even, hey, give me the address, let me send you some things, let me send a card, let me send a letter. They will be proactive in being a part of that child's life, wanting to know when you're visiting, when you're coming. They want to help you. They're excited about their grandchildren. But then there's some that has grandchildren, like, okay, I know I have grandchildren, but they are not interested in getting to know the grandchildren, being an active part of their lives. They want to pop in and pop out. So they'll come and it's a huge deal. They'll be perhaps the great grandparents ever when they're around the kids, around your children, but in theory, they're not really interested in them. They're not interested in their recitals, getting pictures, sending things. They're not like that. If you bring them, you bring them. If you don't, if you bring them to see them, you do. If you don't, you don't. But what you will find is that they're not truly invested in their grandchildren. They just get to say, I'm a grandfather, and that's it. They may or may not show up. Christmas, holidays, it's not even in their mind to come and spend time with the children. And so what will happen is they may have a moment that, they want to come. And sometimes when they decide they want to come see you, sometimes they have an ulterior motive. They may want some money from you. There may just be something going on where he needs to get away for a while, so he goes, oh, let me come and spend time with you guys. And then sometimes if he's spending time with you guys, you'll see he'll still spend a majority of time maybe doing other things, or just not. You just know that he's just there just to waste time, and they're not interested. So it is very imperative that you understand that you have a responsibility to protect your child from that, because those patterns of behaviors will be things that they will pick up on. To not have any expectation, to be happy, and grandpa's coming, because he's never around. When he does come, it's a huge deal. They get very caught up in the euphoric feelings of he's being so great right now, but then he can probably just disappear or leave again and never contact them again. Well, truly what will happen is your child will be in a habit of not expecting anything long-term or consistent, but sporadic, where there's a great time now with absence and a promise to return. And it's the same thing. You may have a father. A father can literally, again, be that way. Maybe your ex-husband or someone like that would be that way. Could even be your brother. With your children, when you have parents that are in and out, on and off, here and there, they're going to give them the greatest weekend ever, but they're not in there. They don't get them all the time. So you have to safeguard against that, because your daughter it can result in your daughter thinking it's normal to have someone who is in and out, breaks their promise, shows up when they want to, leaves. They're not committed. And so she could look for that in a man. Your son may look at that and think that's normal. And so he is repeating that behavior with other young women in his life. And not only that, just as a person, just sporadic. So you may find that your father is sporadic with the grandchildren, and you have to protect against that. And then if you try to do that, there's going to be another guilt trip of, oh, I'm their grandpa. But you're grandpa when you want to be. And so that's one of the signs of an unhealthy, narcissistic father. Entitlement, hurtfulness, hurting you, not protecting you. They break lots of promises. They like to talk about what they're going to do, but they don't follow through. And if they don't follow through, if you ask them about it, it's going to be a guilt trip. It's somehow going to be thrown in your lap. Indiscretions, hurts and pains that they've done in the past, when you try to talk about it, they'll deny it and say it never happened. They'll tell you that's not how it happened. You're exaggerating. They will even ridicule it and say, that thing that I did, I said that, and you got an attitude about that. Or they'll laugh, they'll snicker. And another thing, as I said, they feel entitled to anything that you achieve and you accomplish. They feel entitled to it. Could be money. There's an expectation, you should give me money, loan me money. He may borrow money from you, saying that he's going to pay it back, and does not. You may do things for him, and he may cause your credit to be ruined with no accountability for that. He may borrow money from your friends, and you don't know that. Sometimes you may have friendships and relationships and things suddenly fall apart, and you don't know, and you realize that you come to find out maybe that your father borrowed money from your boyfriend or your girlfriend, or asked money of your ex's family. And that in itself can be a wedge, and one of the things that that family can look back and say, oh, your father was this bum dude, or, you know what I'm saying? So he can create financial problems for you, as well as really hurting your reputation with the things that he has done and said about you behind closed doors that you are not aware of, that you may find out later on, that might manifest in the middle of an argument, someone throwing that thing in your face about what kind of person your father is or is not. And may just take from you. He may steal from you. He may try to sabotage your job. So you will find that there's certain things that you have accomplished in your life, people that you may know, that you feel like you cannot bring your dad around this person. You may want to, because you want to have the ideal family setting where you may go to your boyfriend or your girlfriend's house, and whoever you're with, their families all together. They may have their problems, but they're a united front. And here you are with nothing. No father around, and it can be hurtful and painful. So guys, what are some of the signs here? Selfishness, entitlement, broken promises, fantasies of how things happen when it didn't happen that way. He will totally rewrite your history. He will make you feel as if you are ungrateful and you're selfish. These things he will do. And what do you do in that case? Well, you tend to wear a scarlet letter because you felt rejected by the first man in your life that should have protected you. But he did not. He did not protect you. He ridiculed you. And so you'll find yourself choosing people like that. One of two things will happen. You're going to end up choosing people, friends like that, relationships like that, drawn to those types of people. Or the next thing that will happen is you will become so resentful and hateful to your dad that you make like a pledge of what you're never going to do, and you become your parent, either to your children or to other people around you, and they're not going to want to be with you because you're hypersensitive. Everything that they do, you're going to be thinking, oh, this reminds me of my father, or stuff like that, and it's really going to cause you to not have positive and good relationships. And so, guys, it's really a matter of healing. As a believer in Christ, guys, it's a process. It's truly a process. It's not something that's just going to happen immediately. Forgiveness is going to have to come to the forefront. And forgiveness is not something that's just going to happen right away. So you have to give yourself grace and time and allow the Lord to take you through the process of what happened, why it happened, and go through the process of pouring out. You can also go to counsel. Go to a counselor and talk about that. I would say, try to get a professional counselor. Some of you may go to church and you don't want to be telling your pastor or your leaders about the things of your past, because 9 times out of 10, guys, it's going to come back to haunt you. You want to go to a professional who can, your pastor may be able to pray for you and everything. But guys, you can also pray for yourself. You can say, pastor, just keep me in prayer, or someone. They don't need to know your business. But sometimes if you go and you're spilling your guts on all your disappointments and your heartaches and your pains, and you go and you tell your pastor about that, you may find that rare pastor that you can confide in and nothing comes of it. But you have many more who perhaps they looked at you a certain way, but once they realize the brokenness and things that's happened in your life, they'll turn around and use it against you. And so you just don't want to be sharing those types of information there. So it'll be better to get a counselor. There's like tons of videos on YouTube as well. And maybe someone you can confide in that you really know that you're safe and you can talk to them. You want to do that. You want to go through this process of healing. And in healing, you're going to be able to see things clearer. If you have a wound and it's filthy and dirty, the doctor has to clean it off. And sometimes the anesthetic and all the solutions that they use to clean it can sting and it can hurt. But if they try to heal, try to sew up or treat your injury with a lot of germs and things on it without clearing those things away, you're going to get an infection, and probably you're going to heal in a very bad way and lose the limb or something like that, or get sick, sepsis or something crazy. So there have to be a clearing away of all the hurt and the pain. That is going to take time. There's going to be a lot of tears and facing that, because in doing so, then you'll go through the process of healing, and you will be able to heal and deal with things from a level head, and not looking through your pixel vision of what your father did to you. You have a right to set boundaries and set lines. You have a right to state what happened. You have a right to say no. You have a right to protect your children from such an individual, because as I said, your children may see you as a hero right now. They normally do when they're so young, and perhaps you are going through times with them because they're teenagers and things like that. You don't want your father to be adding fuel to the fire and adding, oh well, you were rebellious and you did this, and then turn your children against you, and it's the grandparents against you and the kids, or your grandparents, your children siding with your grandma or your grandfather. We're talking about grandfather. Your children will side with your father against you. So you have a right to protect your children. And one thing you have to realize, as you're trusting God and asking him to help you and to lead you and to heal you, he's going to make a way, guys. He's going to open doors where you're going to get stronger. You're going to find yourself being able to say no. He's going to right the wrongs, even though it may take time. Let's say, for example, your father has your children all wrapped around his finger, and they're believing him, and other people are believing things that he's telling them about you. You may want to try to prove it. But what I want to tell you is, by the virtue of your fruit, that means your actions and how you live, the truth will come out. Because no matter how much they may try to pretend to be nice, they're not nice. And so it's eventually going to come out. So as long as you're trying to get receipts and you're trying to prove, oh, he did this, he did that, and you're talking bad about him, it's not going to work, because the position of being a parent gives that parent, your father, whether good or bad, he's going to get an automatic, he's just going to get a certain amount of respect and belief and consideration before you. And if you're trying to talk against him and speak against him, it's not going to make you look right. And so you do have parents, what they do is they take that position of honor and use it for dishonor. But what I would say is, don't dishonor your parents. It's not going to be an easy thing. Ask God to show you and help you. Now, you can separate yourself, and that's not dishonoring them. And that's after you've tried everything. You know the type of father that you have, and you may need to make those choices and decisions. But you can still ask God to help you to learn how to respect the position that they hold, while still protecting yourself. You know, being a parent, being a father, does not mean that person has a right to destroy your life. The things that they did for you, they're supposed to do that. I'm not saying that you should just not be thankful to them for what they do, but when it's being weaponized and used against you, you need to have it in your mind that they are supposed to do those things. And so for them to just think to themselves, oh, look what I did, it lets you know that they have a very unhealthy state of mind. You are an adult. You're the next generation, and it's up to you. It is up to you whether or not you're going to move forward and set the bar higher for your family, for your children. Sometimes that may mean pulling away. And what is that going to do? In pulling away from them, you have to realize that you're not doing that stuff because you hate them. But you are doing that because you are preserving your lineage and your seed and your children. And whether people believe you or not, whether they're just so convincing that no one believes you, still walk in integrity. Keep doing the right things, because you know what? When you plant good seeds and you do the right thing, even in the face of wrong, just the way things are, it's going to come back, and you're going to be that parent that's been so vindictive. They're going to be exposed, because what you sow, you're going to reap. If you sow goodness, you sow respect, you sow kindness, it's going to come back to you. You may not see it right away, but it will come back when you need it the most. A person that sows discord and is evil and vindictive and hide behind being a father or elderly while doing wicked, it's going to manifest eventually. So seek counsel, seek prayer, seek the Lord, ask him to help you. Allow yourself to cry, allow yourself to be mad. Write down the things that your father may have done to you. Speak it out before God. Cry, scream, do what you need to do. Counsel, not at your church. and setting those boundaries, and realize you are deserving of love. The Lord may have blessed you with your children, and that's why it's so important that you don't allow yourself to behave in an unhealthy manner towards your children and destroy them, because God blesses your womb, or God calls you to be able to have children to give you an opportunity to get love and receive it, and to learn how to love, to care, and give to your children what you never got and receive it. And the love that children normally have for you is free and instant the minute they're born and they lay eyes on you and bond with you. You want to be the difference. And understand that you are deserving of love. What you want to ensure, though, you don't grow up entitled. If you don't heal right, you don't learn that pain, learn how to forgive and move forward. Just saying, Lord, I want to forgive, but it's just not in me to do it right now. Please help me. If you don't do that, you will develop into an entitled person. So the next thing that will happen is you wearing the badge of sorrow. I'm a prison. I was in, you wearing a purple heart of toxicity. Oh, this is what happened to me. And everybody has to be gingerly stepping around you. Your boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife cannot equally pour out to you. They can't tell you anything because they have to remember the story about what your father did. So it's important that you heal, or else you are not going to have healthy relationships, and you are going to become your dad. So get healing, get restoration, enjoy yourself, enjoy your life. Realize that sometimes you may have to turn away. You may want dad to be there. Sometimes you could be so desperate to have your father there that you're willing to have him there even at the expense of yourself. Oh, as long as he's here. No, that's an abusive and prisoner mindset, and it's trauma bonding. It is better to protect your household, your children, your husband, your wife right now. It's better to make those sacrifices now for the future of your seed than to allow them to enter into your life and completely destroy it. The thing about it is that parent, your father, knows exactly the type of person that he is and what he has been doing, but he's been getting away with it for a long time. He's been able to talk you out of it, make you feel bad. Other people are just automatically going to believe him. And he has not come to terms with who he is, and he probably never will. But that is not your cross to bear. That is his. And he has to realize there are consequences for his actions. If he continues to ridicule you, if he continues to disrespect you, if he continues to be disloyal, if he continues to do the things that he's doing, then he is going to miss out on the rewards of his grandchildren and spending time with you and being around you. He may minimize it, but truly what some parents don't realize, while your children are young and they were vulnerable, you were stronger than them, and so you mistreated them. That father may have mistreated you, but they don't realize their vision is getting dim. Their knees are getting feeble while you're getting stronger, and you are their reward. Your children are their reward, and just investments, if you want to call that, and they can miss out on that. Unfortunately, because they're getting older and they have gray hairs and they may bend low, it's hard to believe that inside of that person is a selfish and entitled individual. Their voice gets weaker and they're walking slower, and some people may be looking at them and saying, well, I can't believe that this man is over here by himself, or this mom is here, where are your kids? And it seems terrible. And while there are some children who are absolutely horrible and just threw their parents away, there are some children that had to distance themselves from this particular parent because they had been and continue to be a terror to their children. And some people may say, that's your dad, that's your mom, it doesn't matter what they do. You are a person that's been highly abused. Either one or two things. You have trauma bonded, you have learned how to live with the abuse and the assaults in your life, or you have never experienced that. So you're speaking from the white picket fence, the great parents that you've had, or yes, you may have parents that you may have had problems, but you're always able to come together and talk about it. and just move forward and have that mutual respect. Some children do not have that. So, and children, and they become adults, they don't have that. So the only thing that they can do to save themselves from jumping off of, a cliff, or to save their marriage, to save their sanity, to save their lives, would have been to get away from this parent who is a living nightmare. And so, guys, we have to make sure that we don't judge. So know that you're not crazy. It is a process. Healing is a process. Give yourself some grace to know that there's healing involved. It's going to take time to heal, and that you have a right to enjoy your life. I always give this example. I'm going to give it to you now. I just snapped my finger. That just happened in time. It's etched in time, and it's happened, and it's over. It can never be repeated. I can do this, but this is a completely different snapping of the finger, independent of the one that I did before. So this is how precious your life is. You can't go back and take back all the years that you have lost, but you can move ahead and move forward. And as I told you in the beginning, this is a principality and a power. Whether your parent was overindulged or they were neglected, when they got hurt, neglected or rejected, when they got hurt, they opened up their heart, and they dealt with the abuse in a way where they healed with a bitterness, and then now they're passing it on to you. Have you ever wondered the level of wickedness and indifference that they can have towards you? Have you ever wondered, how could they treat me this way? I'm their child. Because there's an evil spirit that is at the foundation of all of that has no connection to you whatsoever, but has a connection with a parent of whom continues to be vindictive, evil, malignant, toxic, and so they can thrive there. But that parent has the ability to stop it. And the worst ones are the ones that are in church. They may be involved in the church. They may be a Passover church, a lead over church. They may be well known in their community. They are high-end doctors and lawyers. They have a lot of reputation, and they have the love and the support of the people. And here you are trying to prove that they are who they are. Don't try to prove what they are. Live your life. Move forward. Don't try to do the job and be what he wants you to be. Oh, I'm a doctor. There are lots of people who are doctors and lawyers, and they're so miserable because they're on this hamster wheel with their parents, and they're constantly demanding more and more of them. And now they want you to go into this specialty, and you need to be the top doctor, and you need to be this, and you need to be that. And this is how you run your life. And so that child is absolutely miserable. That child, now an adult, is miserable. And you've got to put in your mind to know you can break free from that and do what you want to do. If you didn't want to be a doctor, but you already went to medical school, it does not matter. That does not matter. It's not too late to do what you would like to do. But what you want to do is make sure you have saved enough, plan for it, that you have enough money, and you just set it up where you can make these moves and live the life that you've always wanted to live. Anyway, guys, this video has gone on for a while. These are just a few things of a toxic father. They neglect, they conveniently forget. They're going to tell you another side of the story. They break their promises. They are sporadic in and out of your life. They will ridicule you. They'll make friends with your enemies. They have an entitled mindset. They remind you of all the things that they have done. The whole point of it is this: whether it's a dad that took care of home or one that was irresponsible, the bottom line with a father who is narcissistic, toxic, evil, all right, is the fact that they will neglect and they don't protect. And they will disappoint you easily. All right, guys, I hope this makes sense. And feel free to comment below.